Hello and welcome. My name is Shonen Ouji, and I'm here to dig deeper into your favorite anime and manga. In this series, I review the latest episodes of the Dr. Stone anime. Now, before I say too much, I do want to say that this was personally one of my favorite episodes out of the last few weeks. But with all that out of the way, let's start this review of episode 10. So if you haven't already seen the episode, I should warn you there are some pretty big spoilers, but if you have, let's get right into this. So, one of the first things we see is Gen get attacked by magma. And I have to be honest, Gen is definitely growing on me because when I saw him die, I was like, they actually just killed him off. He's only been here for like an episode and they already killed him off. And then when I found out that he had fooled Magma, I was actually pretty relieved to see him alive. And I was shocked that they almost kill him off, but I think it was necessary to set up what was going to happen in the rest of the episode. On that note, Boichi, the creator of Dr. Stone, has clearly seen his fair share of Disney movies because Magma could not be more of an imitation of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. He's the big, strong, blonde guy in the village that everybody knows is the strongest, tallest guy in the village. And he thinks he deserves the prettiest girl in the village. Like, clearly Gaston. And then we have the I think they call it the grand bout. It's like the tournament. And you see Kohaku defending the honor of Ruri. And that could not have been more of an analogy to Brave, where she's like, I'll be fighting for my own hand. Like, this is so reminiscent of Disney, which is good. I'm not saying it's like ripping off Disney, but I think what we're seeing is very like archetypal themes that play a lot in big stories like Disney movies. So we're seeing the story and the plot and the character interactions speed up, and I like that. One thing I should definitely note about this episode is in previous reviews I said that I wasn't immediately in love with all of the villagers, but that I had a feeling they were going to grow on me. And that's definitely what's happening. Suika, although I wasn't like in love with her the second I saw her, is getting cuter and cuter with each episode, and I love that she's like the pet essentially of the team. I love what's happening with Chrome. We got some pretty good looks at his character, specifically with Ruri and how he wants to save her and how he's growing alongside Senku, and I think that's really cool to see him growing as a character and adopting that title as a science user. We also got another look at Kinro and Ginro in this episode, specifically the scene where Kohaku confronts them about what they think about Ruri was probably one of the most hilarious scenes I've seen. I really like Kinro, the gold one, because he's just like the very stereotypical, like, rules are rules, like very serious, but like when you catch him off guard, like, you know, he's just a clown like everybody else. But then there's Ginro, who is just constantly a clown. And you see him twice in this episode, like, drooling over the girls in the village. There's the scene when they're having the flashback where he thinks about, oh, would Kohaku and Ruri have to get married? And he has his, like, pervy little fantasy. And then when Kohaku asks him what he thinks about Ruri, and all he can talk about are her face, her boobs, her body. It was just hilarious to see him like, oh, well, yeah, she's great. She's got a great personality. Like, it was just funny to watch. So these characters are really growing on me, and I like every episode now. I love to see their interactions with each other. Now, specifically out of the cast of characters, I want to talk more about Kohaku. In previous episodes, I've said what makes our main cast of characters right now so interesting is that they're all outsiders, both literally and figuratively. And we see with Kohaku that she's an outsider because at first it was just because she was like a strong, independent woman, which people are usually drawn to. But we see in this episode it's a little more than that. While she does have a chip on her shoulder, we see that it's with a tender heart that she's picking all these fights and she's showing off how strong she is. We see that she defends Ruri against Magma, who is clearly just like a piece of crap. Again, the whole Gaston thing. He thinks he's God's gift to women. But I really like the development we see with Kohaku because it adds a layer of depth to her character. Like, she's not just a strong, independent woman. She's a sister, and she's somebody who wants to defend her sister. So while she like is like an edgy character, for lack of better terms, I really like that she's got the side to her of like she's vulnerable. Like she wants to defend her sister, and it's this dedication to her sister that she's kind of rejected the norms of the village and what's expected of girls, and she's committed herself to doing whatever she needs to do to save her sister, as she says to Kinro and Ginro. One last thing that I have to talk about before I close this review is the scenes with Gen and Tsukasa. First, I want to just talk about the flashback where we see Gen revived. And let me just say, this scene was so powerful. There was a lot of good contrast between Gen and Tsukasa, and specifically like the positions of power they were in. When we see Gen revived, he's obviously naked like everybody else, but it's the positioning of where they are at that particular moment, because we see Gen naked and vulnerable, kind of like Adam and Eve, and as soon as he turns around, he's just got the towering figure of Tsukasa and all his strength. And on top of that, he's just seeing like the hundreds of statues that Tsukasa has managed to gather for his army. And it really emphasizes the threat that Tsukasa is posing, because while Senku has the power of science and electricity, and he's slowly becoming a more and more charismatic leader, Tsukasa is almost like an element of nature with the power that he poses. And you see this threat that he poses when he gives his mission to Gen, and he like notes that Senku is the smartest man in the world, and I kill them with my two hands, which almost says to Gen, yeah, you can go side with them, but just know Senku isn't that smart. Like, he's not so smart that I can't go kill him. So it does a good job of building suspense with Gen, because not until the very end of the episode do we know who's he going to side with, Tsukasa or Senku. Also, I really just want to note how freaking insane Tsukasa's army already looks. I know, like, I just went on a rant about how, like, intimidating it is, but he literally has pillar men. Like, the pillar men from JoJo. Like, he's literally just finding every roided up teenager that happens to be within 20 miles, reviving them, and just building this roided up team of people who are just like genetically gifted freaks. Like, ugh. This is so daunting. So for Gen to just run all the way there, have to like face these superhumans. Again, they're like at most like maybe 20. But even then, they're probably all like 18 and younger. And they're just like, they're literally pillar men. They're all freaks of nature. So while Senku has the power of science, if he doesn't get his kingdom of science built up quick and Tsukasa decides to get off his butt and just go kick his ass, they're kind of screwed. But that does it for my rant about Tsukasa and his army. If you enjoyed what I had to say about this video, make sure you like it. If you're looking forward to my future videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to reach out to me, make sure to follow me on Twitter because I do try to be active. Thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.